Metropolitan Transit Services Commission to order here at 3:02 on February the 2nd of 2021. I'm going to start off today with an acknowledgement that we are all on Treaty 6 territory. And I want to acknowledge that, and I acknowledge that by the following statement. I'd like to acknowledge that we are on Treaty 6 territory, a traditional meeting grounds, gathering place, and traveling route to the Cree, Saulteaux, Blackfoot, Métis, Dene, and Nakota Sioux. We acknowledge that the many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit whose footsteps have marked these lands for centuries. And we are now convened. And let me start with a few opening comments here before we get into the agenda. We've been at this now as a group, as a board, and as administrative support, and our friends from our consultant, Ernst & Young. We've been at it for a while, and the days have stretched on. And quite honestly, there were days when the work was overwhelming. And there were those, I suspect, within our community that thought that today would never come. And they thought that perhaps last Thursday, or 2 weeks ago, where the minister signed into existence our commission, would not have occurred. But we persevered. And it wasn't just this board, but it was the supporting cast behind us that worked so hard to get the work done that allowed us to come to today. And it brought to mind, in politicians, we like to quote other people when they say good things. So I'm going to quote somebody who came up with a statement that said this: "Never underestimate the power of a small group of committed people to change the world. In fact, that's the only thing that ever has." Statement made by Margaret Mead. And we may not have changed the world, but we have certainly changed the world in the Edmonton Metropolitan region. And we have done so for the better, for the citizens that we serve, and the citizens that will benefit, not only today, tomorrow, but in the future, from the work that we have done over the last couple of years. So I want to say congratulations to everybody. Before I go on to the approval of the agenda, and there are public people online, and they may not have met our board members, and I want to just to introduce to them who is on the screen. And I'm just going to go around the circle, no order of preference, but let me introduce to the public here. And when I read out your name, if you can just raise your hand, and then we'll carry on to the agenda. So the Vice Chair of the Edmonton Metropolitan Transit Commission, Councillor Michael Walters from the City of Edmonton. From this town of Devon, Mayor Ray Ralph. From the City of Beaumont, Councillor Sam Munkoff-Swain. From the City of Leduc, Councillor Glenn Finstad. From the City of Fort Saskatchewan, Councillor Gordon Harris. From the town of Stony Plain, Councillor Justin Laurie. And one councillor who has not joined us, but is certainly an integral member of our board, is Councillor Chantal McKenzie from the City of Spruce Grove. On the screen as well, we have Mr. Bill Shores, a lawyer, supporting the commission. We have Mr. Alan Tom, he's with Ernst & Young, and Mr. Josh Cole, also of Ernst & Young. So with those introductions, come to the first item that requires a motion, and that's the approval of the agenda. Would somebody care to make that motion?
So moved.
Thank you. I'll call for the question then. All in favor of adopting the agenda as presented? We'll raise our hands here. And we'll go with that count, and that's unanimous. According to our procedure bylaw, we can do that verbally or with a show of hands or electronically. I think for our first meeting here, we'll just raise our hands if that's okay with everybody. So we have then before us an agenda that's fairly short, because today is our inaugural meeting and we're just establishing a couple of bylaws. We're going to have a round table where I would hope that my board members could express just a few thoughts about what the commission brings to their own communities. It doesn't need to go on and on, but I know that elected officials, give them a microphone, they never are shy. So I'm sure we'll all have something to say. And then we'll go into an in-camera session before the closing of our meeting. So first order of business is the adoption of the governance bylaw. We have a motion. Councillor Walters, you are going to make the motion of the governance bylaw. And if you'd like to read that into the record, I'll accept it, and then we can go into questions. And then once the questions are exhausted, we'll go into debate.
There I go. The motion I have is that the recommendation, I'll move that the commission adopt the governance bylaw as presented in this report. Is that the correct one, Wes?
That's the one I have. I believe that's the correct motion. All right, certainly accept that motion. Any questions? We've all had an opportunity to read it. We've had an opportunity to give comment, and the version that's before us includes those changes that were presented. So hearing no comments, seeing no desire to ask questions, I'll certainly allow you to open our debate then, Councillor Walters.
Well, I don't have much to open. Everybody has been provided with a copy, and the changes that have been made have been updated. So it's an important first step, part of what makes us whole. So looking forward to everyone's support.
Thank you, Councillor Walters. Any others? Anybody else wishing to weigh in on debate? Seeing not, any closing comments then, Councillor Walters?
That's fine.
Okay, I'll call the question then. All in favor, please raise your hand. Opposed? Seeing none, that was carried unanimously. Thank you very much. Moving on to the second item of the agenda is the adoption of the procedural bylaw. Would someone care to move the, thank you, Councillor Finstad. Would you read that into the record?
I move the board adopt the proposed draft bylaw 2, a bylaw respecting procedure at meetings of the Edmonton Metropolitan Transit Services Commission dated February 9th, 2021, and as presented at the February 12th, 2021 board meeting.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you very much. I'll accept that motion. Any questions or amendments? Councillor Muckhoff-Swain, would you care to make an amendment?
Yeah, please. Thank you, Chair. So if I could take folks to, if you're looking at your agenda package, it's on page 25. But of the bylaw itself, it's part 2. I'm looking at section 11 and 12 here. And really what this is about, and my questions, is just around the timing for when the agenda packages are online. And so I just think maybe from a transparency and accessibility perspective, right now it says, the directors get the package 5 days before the regular meeting, and more importantly, section 12 around the public. They get it by 5 p.m. 3 days before the regular meeting. So the question I had around it is, it doesn't specify that it's business days. So technically we could have something come up late on a Friday and then get be able to hold a meeting on a Monday. qualifying the 3 business days there. So just a couple of minor suggestions for that, if you would, Chair. Do you mind if I just kind of speak to it very briefly here?
Go for it.
So with regards to section 11, I think when we talk about the directors, I think we can say business days prior to the agenda. So right now it just says days. So agendas can be made available to directors at a minimum, by 5 p.m. And I think 2 business days prior to the agenda being released to the public is sufficient.
Okay.
And then the second one, and I can put this into the Zoom chat if people are looking for the text. But the second one, more importantly, is around the public. So to the public and municipal administrators, obviously, at a minimum of by 5 p.m. 5 business days before the regular meeting.
Okay. So, Councillor Monkoff-Swain, when you submitted your comments, Mr. Shores drafted a proposed bylaw amendment. Did you get that?
I have not seen the amendment, sorry. I flicked my comments to Mr. Tom late last night, I think it was. So I haven't seen anything else come in today on that. So I'm happy to hear more on that.
Yeah. So maybe, Mr. Tom, if you could quickly email Councillor Swain. I'll read what the amended amendment is that the proposed bylaw 2 be amended so as time periods be expressed in business days rather than days as follows. Section 2 be amended, subsection 1, by adding the following definition after subsection B. Business day means that any day other than Saturday, Sunday, or statutory holidays. And 2, by renumbering the subsections that follow. Be section 9 be amended by deleting the words business day and replacing them with business days. Section 11 be amended by deleting the words 5 days and replacing them with 5 business days. And section D, section 12 be amended by deleting the words 3 days and replacing them with 3 business days. So does that amended wording capture your thought?
Yeah, sorry, I see that coming at 2:20 today, so apologies for not being able to read it beforehand. Yeah, from what you're saying, and as my quick glance here through the email here, that does make sense. So I'm happy with that amended motion. So Mr. Shores, thanks for making that. It's just very, very minor, but I think important in the overall context.
No, fair enough. Point made. Mayor Ralph.
Just in regards to section 9, it already states 5 business days in section 9 in the document that I have in front of me.
No, what that did was it capitalized the business part of business days to make it stand out.
Okay, so that was the only change then on that one. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, section 12 is what I'm really more concerned about.
Gotcha. All right, so we're voting on the amendment. Councillor Harris, comment.
I'll support the amendment. This has been an ongoing controversy or discussion in our municipality since we took office a number of years ago. To ensure that we have adequate information distributed to the committee, to the board, and ultimately to the public. So I think it's a good amendment, and I will be voting in support of the amendment.
Thank you, Councillor Harris. Any other comments? Councillor Finstad?
Mr. Chair, I view this as friendly amendments and we'll support them wholeheartedly.
Okay. All right, so we're going to just go through the process here. I recognize your position on that, Councillor Finstad. We'll vote on the amendment, and then I'll get you to move the amended motion at the end then, Councillor Finstad, if you don't mind. Any other comments before I ask Councillor Monkoff-Swain to close? Any other closing comments, Councillor Monkoff-Swain, on the amendment?
Oh, I think it speaks for itself. I'm just trying to give folks more time to be able to participate in the process. So that's all I wanted to look for. So thank you.
Perfect. Thank you very much. All right, so calling the question on the amendment. All in favor, please raise your hand. And that is passed unanimously. Thank you. And back to you, Councillor Finstad, on the original motion now amended.
So I move that the board adopt the proposed amended draft bylaw number 2, a bylaw respecting procedure at meetings of the Edmonton Metropolitan Transit Services Commission, dated February 9th, 2021, presented at the February 12th, 2021 board meeting, and amended at the February 12th, 2021 board meeting. The proposed bylaw is that be amended so the time period be expressed in business days rather than days as follows. Section 2 be amended by adding the following definition after subsection B. Business day capitalized means any day other than a Saturday, Sunday, or statutory holiday in Alberta, by renumbering the subsections that follow. Section 9 be amended by deleting the words business days in small letters and replacing them with business days capitalized. And section 11 be amended by deleting the words 5 days and replacing them with 5 business days. And section 12 be amended by deleting the words 3 days and replacing them with 3 business days.
Very good. Thank you very much. Any opening comments on debate, Councillor Finstad?
No, I think this just adds a lot of clarity. I think there was some question by many board members that perhaps the original wording may not have provided adequate time to digest any information coming forward. So I think this will add a lot of that chance to provide the necessary time to review.
Thank you. Councillor Harris?
You're on mute.
Yeah. That's the struggle of virtual meetings, is getting off mute in a timely way. No, I'll obviously vote in favor of this bylaw. It's not the first change we're likely to make. This will obviously be a somewhat fluid bylaw as we get up and running. And obviously, I think that the board has some very experienced politicians on it, very experienced with parliamentary procedure. So we'll consider amendments, I guess, as we go forward. But this is a good first step. It's a lot of hard work, and I think it's a good drafting.
Thank you. Any other comments? All right. Well, I would certainly like to express my thanks to Mr. Shores for drafting these bylaws today. You set the commission up on good foundation, sir. Thank you very much. Councillor Finstad to close.
No, no closing comments, and just looking forward to moving forward from here.
All right. I'll call the question then. All in favor, please raise your hand. And that's passed unanimously. Thank you very much. All right, number 5 on the agenda is board member remarks and roundtable discussion. Can I start off with you, Councillor Harris?
Certainly. This has been a labor of love. I think we've all committed to seeing the initial planning for this particular entity. And I obviously have to acknowledge Councillor Walters and yourself, Councillor Broadhead, for being the initial seed planters for this particular exercise. And so your leadership has allowed us to get to this point. And with the support of all of our consultants and the people that have fed into that process, this has been really good. I think, speaking from the City of Fort Saskatchewan perspective, I see building something for the future. We're doing it at a very challenging time, but I think that the future will bear us out that this was a good strategic decision for our region going into the future. And I know my colleagues in Fort Saskatchewan are looking forward to seeing how we can improve transit availability and accessibility in our municipality and across the region. So I think that will set us up well for the future. So those are my comments. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Harris. Councillor Laurie, can I ask you to go next?
Certainly. Thank you, Chair. I just want to say, yeah, for the town of Stony Plain, it's incredibly exciting. We were already had plans to launch our own transit when this kind of kicked off, and it was great for us to be included in this, and it's going to be fantastic for our community, allowing us to do so much more than we would have been able to do on our own, and allowing us to connect our residents into the places that they live, that they work, that they play, for entertainment purposes, schooling, anything that they want. I must say, since when we had our official announcement, the response from the community and the response from the media has been so positive and so fantastic. It brings a lot of validation to the work that we have spent. It was referred to as a labor of love, and truly, it has been a labor to get here. It's been a lot of work, and as the elected officials, we think it's been a lot of work, but really we've had it easy. And our consultants and our administrative working team and everybody who's been engaged in this process has just done such a phenomenal job of bringing us to this point. And I'm incredibly excited to go from getting the ideas on the table and trying to formulate a plan as to how we can get stood up, to now actually getting a plan as to how we literally can make the wheels on the bus go round and round, and get a plan in motion and start moving our residents around this region seamlessly and effortlessly. So very excited to be a part of it, and I look forward to continuing to work with all of you as we bring this forward.
Thank you, Councillor Laurie. Councillor Finstad.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. For Leduc, we're really looking forward to enhancing the economic benefits to the region and better connect people in Leduc to business and employment opportunities. But we really are thankful that we've got this opportunity for regional collaboration. There's so many things that we do together as a region, and this is just one really visible way of demonstrating the collaboration that 8 municipalities can do when we come together and work towards a common goal. So I really want to thank the rest of the directors on the Edmonton Metro Regional Transit Services Commission, and thank the administrative work that was done. In particular, I really want to thank my colleagues on council for their support and vision in bringing this to a reality. And thank you so much to the administrative staff that worked to support us and the working team in this regard. And yeah, it'd be nice when we get the name chosen and move forward and get our CEO hired and all that good stuff. So really looking forward to some exciting times as we move ahead.
Very good. Thank you, Councillor Finstad. Mayor Ralph from the town of Devon.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First, I'd like to thank everyone sitting around the table, and especially a big thanks out to our consultants that have made this happen, in my opinion. Without their knowledge and their expertise and the work they put in behind the scenes, as well as the working groups in behind the scenes from the different municipalities, we would not be sitting here today. And to me, this is a very, very exciting time for my community, for the town of Devon. It's been a miss for our community since I moved here in 2001, and it's coming from major cities where we always had transit to a small community where we didn't have any. This is a huge opportunity for our residents and the town of Devon, actually, in economic development and the future for our residents. So it wouldn't be possible without regional cooperation and collaboration. And that's the biggest thing for me, is I support regional cooperation and working together. And this is just a great opportunity. And it shows how much we can accomplish when we do work together. So again, I'd just like to thank everybody. I was not at every meeting. I did have an alternate, and she did Councillor Hugh did an excellent job. I know she did. And but again, I'm excited about moving forward with this and the commission. And Councillor Walters and Councillor Broadhead, you should be proud of everything that you've been able to move forward with this. And so hats off. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Ralph. Councillor Monkoff Swain.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. And yeah, I think first up, I just want to bring thanks from my council to my fellow board members. You know, I've shared my appreciation, but they wanted to make sure that that I pass on from them as well for toying it out and sticking with it as the chair talked about. You know, we a lot of time and effort from the folks that I see on the screen here. So from my council, a big thank you. Lots of others have commented about you know, the administrative support throughout this. I've you know, we've talked about it internally here at Beaumont, but also just a sincere appreciation for everyone else's administrative prowess. We all brought different skills to the table, and definitely why we got over the line here today. So thanks for that. I also wanted to reflect, being our first meeting, reflect back on our first official meeting, to reflect back on our first unofficial meeting at the Shaw Conference Center. When we were all there, we were all excited. There's a whole bunch of people. It was a very hot room, and lots of people there, excited, engaged, and you know, maybe didn't go so well. And you know, from where we went from there to here was it's just fascinating, and to see the same faces around the table, the fact that we all stuck it out, it's truly great to be here today. So I reflect on that infamous Shaw meeting, which I won't go any more into, but those who were there would have recognized what happened. Just from a Beaumont perspective, you know, I share Councillor Laurie's comments just in terms of the reception that it's got out here. You know, we had both from a media perspective, but from our residents. And we've been talking about this for a long time, and I kept trying to get folks engaged and excited about it, and it was always, well, you know, wait till it actually happens, and now it's happened, and so that excitement is building for sure here. And the one unique thing I wanted to pass on is a lot of it was initially viewed, you know, maybe 2 years ago when we started this, was how do we get Beaumont residents out into the region? How do we get them into Edmonton? How do we get them out to Leduc and all that sort of stuff? And how do we get, you know, the large majority of our population leaves the city on a daily basis. But what's really struck me over the last you know, week or so since we've talked about this is how many local businesses and local folks are really excited that we're going to attract people into the city. And I think that's the real key thing that we're talking about here with this is you know, while you know, a lot of people are working in and around Edmonton, it's going to be great that folks in and around Edmonton are going to be able to get out into the regions and use transit to come out and visit our businesses, our restaurants, and come and check out our parks and all that sort of stuff. So that really rang true to me, that you know, we're excited to welcome people across the region, and can't wait for them to come out here on a bus. So those are my comments, Chair, and thanks for the time.
Thank you, Councillor Monkoff Swain. So one of the joys of being the chair and the vice chair is that we get to go last. So Councillor Michael Walters, over to you, my friend.
Yeah, thanks, Wes. And you know, I am really grateful to be where we are here today. You know, grateful for the resilience of all my colleagues around this virtual table, for the work that you did. You know, our long haul with the support of Ernst & Young and our administrations has been just that. It's been a long haul for sure. And Sam, I had forgotten about that first meeting actually. So it's so long ago that we kind of tripped out of the gate a little bit, but it, you know, those things happen, and you know, no problem for us to overcome that and get to where we're today. And I'm also reminded that, you know, this idea, well, it didn't originate in the Metro Mayors Alliance report. You know, it's much older than that. It was kind of given to new life by the Metro Mayors Alliance report, you know, noting that in addition to regional economic development and you know, regional growth plan work, that regional transit was one of the keys to a competitive region, where not only stopped competing with one another, but we started showing a common front and common face to the rest of the world in terms of attracting, you know, young, talented, educated professionals here that are going to be such an important part of the next economy in Metro Edmonton. So, you know, Edmonton Global's been stood up for a little while now and functioning well, and for us to get up on our feet officially today is another very important milestone for the region, and there's so much more work to be done. You know, we're all members of EMRB as well around this table, and and there's so much work to be done. And, this is what Mayor Ralph had talked about. This is, just another expression of effective regional work that we've all put a lot of time into. I've also been really grateful that around the Edmonton City Council table, there was many touch points and check-ins, and it was this has been unanimous. Our council has supported it unanimously every single step of the way. So for Edmonton, this has been something that our whole council has been committed to and remains committed to. So lots of work in the year ahead. As we build the business plan now, and as we build the model and hire our CEO and hire staff, the plan that we have details the road we have yet to travel in the coming year, and I look forward to working with all of you to take those steps and to do what we said we were going to do, which is actually now build a functional, smartly planned regional transit system that does what the original vision promised, which was increased mobility through the whole region, provide people, every regional resident, choice in their mode of transportation beyond just cars, and it increases labor mobility to so many of our major employment centers throughout the region. I mentioned in some of the media interviews that people from Edmonton actually leave the city sometimes and go to other places in the region and work in other places in the region. And this is really important, not just for the traffic into Edmonton, but for the traffic out. And that's what a regional system is. We all matter. We're all interconnected, and this makes everything much, much better. So thanks to all of you for your commitment, and it's been an honor to work with you. But we got lots of work to do. Thanks, Wes. And thanks for your leadership, my friend. You've been excellent chair through this whole process. We wouldn't be here without you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Walters. We live or die as a team here. And this is an organization that is run by board governance. And so the 8 members of the board here are the ones that are going to drive this through to a successful completion. And it was said that, that I should be proud. Well, I think we should be proud, because there were days when the work seemed hard and perhaps insurmountable, and that Councillor Munkoff-Swain, you reminded us of the first day, and it was an interesting first day, but we persevered, and that's what mattered. I don't have anything to add other than what you individuals have said. I will echo, though, the thanks to our individual council members. Certainly the Council of St. Albert was supportive of this initiative right from day one. That didn't mean, though, that we didn't question in depth the business case as it was developed. And I know that happened in every one of our municipalities. The support that we received from our councils was not given lightly. It was given because the business case was strong and well put together and presented in a way that was understandable. And the communication back to the various municipalities, I thought, was a key strength in the plan that Mr. Tom and Mr. Josh Cole supported through the entire work. So Al, and to your team, congratulations. And on that note, I just want to say, it's a good day today. And I trust that those that are watching in the public will understand the commitment that this board has to realize the dream of regional transit service provision. And it may start off with the outer ring having local, and then the staged intermunicipal services. But the dream is to have a regional entity that provides all modes of public transit and engages other modes of transportation into the the transit link, if you will. So the travel pattern from our origin to our destination can include many modes, but public transit being the backbone that allows that to occur. So we want to be visionary about what public transit means in the future, how the first mile, last mile equation comes into the fulfillment of transportation in the region. We need to be innovative and we need to be nimble. And then how we provide transportation to those who have mobility difficulties. We need as a region to provide them the same service that we provide our able-bodied members of our community. And to that end, we need to determine ourselves to meet that goal. It's not only our determination to do it, it's a law that we need to abide in order to make them equal members of our society. And so that will take work, but we will get there. So thank you all for sharing your comments here. And to our public, the next motion that I'm going to accept is a motion to go in camera. And and we have a motion that's before us. Who would like to make the in-camera motion? Sorry, Councillor Laurie.
Thank you, Chair. Also move that we move into camera.
Okay, there's a number of sections of FOIP. If you can just, it's in the same email that came out at 2:20. And if we could read that motion into the record, that way it covers off for the public the rationale for going in camera.
Sorry, Chair, I don't seem to have that email.
Okay.
I can
That's
read
the
that.
one with the
I can read
amended.
that.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
I can read that on your behalf, Justin, if that's okay with the chair.
Okay, Councillor Finstaff, if you read it, but Councillor Laurie, you're still the owner of the motion. And,
That's correct.
all right.
Okay. The motion is the board move in camera in accordance with the provisions of Division 2, exceptions to disclosure of the Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act, FOIP, RSA 2000, CF 25, including 16 subsection 1, disclosure harmful to business interests of a third party. 17 subsection 1, disclosure harmful to personal privacy. 19 subsection 1, confidential evaluations. 21 subsection 1, disclosure harmful to intergovernmental relations. 22 subsection 1, cabinet and treasury board confidences. 23 subsection 1, local public body confidences. Section 24 subsection 1, advice from officials. Section 25 subsection 1, disclosure harmful to economic and other interests of a public body. Section 27 subsection 1, privileged information. And section 28 subsection 1, information that it will be available to the public.
All right, thank you very much. I'll call the question to move in camera. All in favor, please raise your hand. And that's carried unanimously. Thank you very much. We are now in camera and we'll take a few minutes to allow. Thank you for your time.
Thanks.
All right,
Have a great weekend, everybody.
we'll see you.
And adjourn.
Okay.
So Haley, you're recording now?
Yes, I'm recording.
Okay.
So motion to adjourn. That's non-debatable, right?
Sorry, Councillor Broadhead, do we just need a statement coming out of camera to accept the information and then no decisions were made, or?
Okay, who would like to make that statement? Is
Yeah,
that a
I move
motion that we have to
that coming out of camera, there are no motions to be made.
Okay, was that a motion that you just made there, Councillor Finstaff?
Sure. I
Okay.
move that There are no motions to be made coming out of the in-camera session.
We'll get this eventually. All in favor, please raise your hand. All right.
And the chair can just adjourn the meeting, can't he?
Okay.
Yes.
Don't even need a
Meeting is
motion.
closed.